Stephen Smith, and we're at Portland International Raceway at the SVRA Historic Races, and I'm racing a 65 Beetle. You know, I have some Porsches, and I was out at Rod Emery's shop talking to his dad, and his dad was always, "You gotta come racing with us, we got a bunch of us who vintage race," you know, Gary Emery. And in the back of his shop under some boxes was this car in pieces. And I was like, what about that old Beetle? That would be cool. He's like, you can't have it. It's one of the most documented historic racing cars in the Northwest. It's gonna piss people off. You can't have it. And I said, well, I can't go racing with you then. So for 2 years, I browbeat him for this car. And after 2 years, I got a call one night from Rod, Gary's son, and he was like, we've been talking, you know, there's 10 other people who want that car. You've been the most passionate about it. We like to pick the owners for our cars. We're offering it to you. You got 48 hours to decide. I was out there the next morning with the money and bought it. And we had to find it all in pieces and put it back together. And I started racing it in 2002 back here at this old track in Portland, which was pretty cool. So this car was bought by an engineer who went to OSU, and 1965 bought this thing right off the lot, took it home, gutted it, turned it into a SCCA race car, and that's all this thing's ever been. And then he raced it all throughout the Northwest in over 35 period races between here, Kent, Shelton, Newport, Oregon, all the way up to Westwood in BC. And 1970 Rose Cup was its last period race, and then it went in a barn for 30 years. So when Bill started to race this car, he raced it with the stock low back seats in it, and it pushed him too far forward to see the dash. So he got this tack mount off of a 50s Chris Craft drag boat and put it out on the hood. And people are like, what is that thing, you know? And when you're racing in it, it's awesome, because it's the most important thing other than your oil light, which I see every time apparently we camera the car up, and then there's the tack, and it's right in your line of sight, right in the center of the windshield. So it's like perfect location for it, and you know, it's awesome, and it's characteristic of the car where you immediately know the car, even in the old black and white photos from period 60s when the car was originally racing. You pick it out. A, it's a Volkswagen, but B, you can immediately pick it out because of that tack mount.
How do you describe vintage racing to your friends?
You know, the best thing is you show them a picture of the car. You know, it's the cars we grew up around or our parents did, and it's cool to see cars that you could identify that you could drive on the street racing on the track, as opposed to a lot of racing today that's silhouettes or custom cars that, you know, people can't relate to. This they can relate to, especially my car, because everybody comes up with a Beetle story. I mean, at some point you got to get your car ready to race, and people are telling you the story about their aunt who raced their Beetle. I mean, who drove their Beetle. They were at Woodstock or whatever, you know. And I'm like, oh, that's cool, but I got to get out on the track.
So what do you do in real life?
So my job is executive designer with Kanye West. So I design footwear, sometimes architecture, sometimes furniture, help on apparel and accessories, whatever he's into. You know, I got the original material from Wolfsburg West that was on the car, and I got some aluminum racing seats, and I handmade and sewed all the interior in the car to match the period stuff while keeping the period stuff preserved as part of the time capsule that the car was. And the headrests I handmade as well to match all the period equipment. I kind of like to see the general form. That's what draws me to it, and then you go in deeper into the details. You know, I mean, they always say it's fun to drive a slow car fast, more fun than driving a fast car slow, so I'm driving a slow car fast.